A child has no trouble believing the unbelievable. Okay, let's start with that thought from Stephen Pressfield.
Hmm.
A pretty interesting way to kick things off, especially for what we're digging into today. Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive.
Yeah, and what's really striking about that quote, thinking about our topic, is that built-in ability we have, to accept new things,
Right,
which often gets, well, kind of buried as we get older by experience and stuff.
totally. And that's really the heart of it today. We've got this really compelling chapter excerpt that drops us right into the start of personal transformation.
Okay.
So picture this. You're on this amazing beach, just
Mhm.
gorgeous, the kind that makes you breathe easier.
Yeah.
And there, an entrepreneur and an artist run into someone you might remember us talking about before, the Spellbinder.
Ah, the Spellbinder.
Yeah.
And that setting, the beach,
Yeah.
it feels really symbolic, like a fresh start
Exactly. It's more than just pretty scenery. It really sets the stage for what could happen.
for the potential.
Yeah. So for you listening, our mission, let's say, is to really get under the hood of those crucial mindset shifts
Okay.
and those very first actions, the baby steps even, that pave the way for big changes personally and professionally. We're pulling it all straight from the source material, the experiences shared there.
So what is that trigger point? What makes someone finally move from just thinking about changing to actually, doing something?
Well, let's start with the entrepreneur. Her story really grabbed me.
Okay.
So she's running this tech company described as a rocket ship. You have the
Yeah.
picture, right? Massive growth.
Wheel trajectory, yeah.
Then, boom, seemingly out of the blue, this huge setback hits her. Investors.
Mm.
Apparently, there were issues over equity.
Uh-huh.
They start manipulating her own team, her executives, trying to push her out of the company she built.
Wow. That's brutal, from flying high to, well, facing sabotage from within.
Right. It just shows how fragile things can be, even when they look solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the emotional toll was immense. She talks about feeling total despair, even suicidal thoughts.
Gosh.
It really underscores that link between our work lives and just our fundamental well-being, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And it was in that really dark place that she went to his seminar, the Spellbinders.
Exactly. Which, shows how reaching out, you get an outside view when you're stuck.
Yeah.
It can be so powerful. The seminar was like this lifeline for her.
A catalyst, maybe.
Yeah, catalyst. She said his nuggets of knowledge gave her hope again, made her feel stronger. It's amazing how the right words at the right time.
It can change everything.
It really can. And she actually thanked him directly. She said, and this is a quote, "You've started me on the journey to optimizing my life."
Optimizing my life. Interesting phrase, like being more intentional, more effective.
Seems like it, yeah. A deliberate path forward.
And notice she says, started me,
Yeah.
acknowledging it's just the beginning. And his response, the Spellbinders, that's really telling.
It really is. Apparently, he looks different now, healthier, gained some weight, seems more grounded.
Okay.
But he immediately deflects the credit. He says something like, I didn't start you on this. You're changing your life because you started applying what I taught.
Yeah.
You're implementing it.
Ah, that's such a critical point. Agency. It's not just hearing it, it's doing it.
Right.
He even contrasts it with people who just, chat a good game. We all know those people, right? Talk, talk, talk.
Oh, yeah. Talk but no action. It's a common trap, maybe. He's not judging, but he's pointing out that real change needs that step.
And lots of people hesitate to take that step out of their comfort zone.
Exactly. And that hesitation that stops those unanticipated wins he talks about later.
Those unexpected good things that happen when you just start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he uses that caterpillar to butterfly analogy.
Oh, yeah. Classic transformation.
Look, he emphasizes that the old you kind of has to die off for the better version to come through. It's dramatic, but it makes the point that big change often means letting go.
Letting go of old patterns, old identities. That can be tough, that idea of the old self needing to fade.
Definitely feels vulnerable.
But it also points to the, incredible growth that's possible on the other side.
And then he says something really encouraging about just a beginning. He says, great power is unleashed with this simple start.
A simple start, okay?
And then this is where it gets really interesting. He says, nature notices your effortful actions and then goes ahead and replies to your faithful commitment with a series of unanticipated wins.
Wow. Like the universe responds to effort.
Kind of. It speaks to momentum, right? Even small steps create ripples. It's like you signal your intent and things start opening up.
Opportunities you didn't even see coming.
Exactly. He talks about these knock-on effects.
Mm.
More willpower, confidence building, feeling sharper, more
Like
brilliant.
a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, one good step makes the next one easier.
And he tells that story, the one about the person waiting to lose weight before they start running.
Yes.
Yeah.
So relatable.
It sounds logical, but it's that classic trap of setting preconditions that stop you from ever starting.
Totally. Or the writer waiting for inspiration. The manager waiting for the promotion to act like a leader. The startup waiting for all the funding.
Yeah. We've all seen those examples.
And the spellbinder just lays it out. The flow of life rewards positive action and punishes hesitation. That's pretty direct.
It really flips the script, doesn't it? Action doesn't just follow motivation. Sometimes action creates it.
You don't have to feel ready to start. Starting makes you feel ready. And then he reframes adversity in this really interesting way. A bad day for the ego is a great day for the soul.
Ooh, I like that. That makes you pause.
Right.
It suggests those tough times, the ones that bruise our pride, they're actually valuable for deeper growth.
Yeah, they force you to look past the surface stuff, connect with something real inside. Which brings us back to the entrepreneur, seeing him again. Her reaction is just priceless. We thought you were dead.
So blunt.
Totally unfiltered. But it shows the impact he had, right? And then she immediately comments on his humility. That clearly struck her.
That exclamation, "We thought you were dead," it also hints at maybe how hard he was pushing himself before. That lever of output wasn't sustainable.
That's a really good point. It does suggest that. And his take on humility is fascinating. He says, the humblest is the greatest.
Okay.
He talks about pure leaders being so secure, their main goal is lifting others up.
Yeah.
They don't need the external stuff, titles, possessions for validation.
Right. And that's where he gets into the difference between real power and, what do you call it, fake power.
Fake power, yeah. This is such a crucial distinction, especially today when culture screams that success is all about the external markers.
Yeah, it forces you to ask, what do I really value versus what am I told to value?
Exactly. He lists them out: titles, fancy things, applause, money, big houses. And he's careful. It's not that these things are inherently evil,
Right.
but basing your self-worth on them.
Yeah.
That's the danger. That's the fake power that, as you said earlier, just evaporates.
It's temporary. It's fleeting. Real power lasts because it doesn't depend on those outside things.
So what is real power, according to him? It's internal. Simple as that. Real power never comes from anything external.
Okay. Internal.
And then he drops this singer. A lot of people with a lot of money aren't very wealthy.
That hits home, makes you define wealth differently.
Totally. It's that gap between having stuff and feeling fulfilled, secure inside.
Yeah, you can have it all on the outside and still feel empty or insecure.
Precisely.
Oh.
So he says real power comes from connecting with your authentic self. And the examples he uses are just, wow. Gandhi, Mother Teresa.
Yeah, people with hardly any possessions.
Right. Gandhi with his sandals and glasses.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa, simple clothes, traveling light.
But the influence they had, monumental, not because of what they own, but because of their inner conviction, their principles.
Exactly. Their commitment to something bigger.
Yeah.
And the spellbinder says their lack of attachment to stuff comes from a kind of individual maturity.
Maturity, interesting.
Like they saw chasing objects was futile. And instead they focused on substantial pursuits.
Like what?
Creative vision, tapping into their genius, living by a higher moral code. He insists that being inspirational, masterful, fearless, fundamentally, all inside jobs.
It all comes back to cultivating the inner world, doesn't it? Not just acquiring external things.
Right. You can't buy real power. You have to build it inside. And then he links it to contribution, impact. Talks about business in terms of unlocking stakeholder value, making things better for everyone, not just you.
Right, serving the whole ecosystem.
And it quotes Rumi beautifully. Give it the drop, become the ocean, moving beyond just me, me, me.
Yeah, that shift from self-focus to contribution, that's often a hallmark of real leadership, isn't it? And probably deep satisfaction, too.
It seems like it. So the artist then asks him, where have you been?
Yeah, what happened if they thought he was dead?
Exactly. And it turns out he was just exhausted, burnt out. Too many cities, too many airplanes, too many media appearances.
Wow. The very mission he was on, helping people, it drained him.
Totally. Which is a huge lesson, right? Even people focused on peak performance need to watch their own energy. Sustainability matters.
Absolutely. You can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
Right. And he shares this realization. Rest and recovery isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Period.
We probably all need that tattooed somewhere.
Seriously. And he also talks about needing solitude, getting away from the digital noise to actually think and get inspired.
That's often overlooked, the need for quiet time, for disconnection, to actually recharge and, well, hear yourself think.
Definitely. And then he paints this lovely picture of his time in Mauritius. Simple things.
Like what?
Family meals, swimming in the ocean, enjoying roast chicken and a local beer, Phoenix beer.
Ah, the simple pleasures, a world away from the constant grind he described.
Totally. And he says he was there for two reasons. Coaching some clients, but also for his own personal regeneration.
Balancing output with input, essential for the long haul.
Yeah. And he's still committed to his mission, uplifting society, fighting negativity. He sees Mauritius as part of that, helping him recharge for that purpose.
It makes sense.
And he throws in this gem about leadership, too. Being a high-impact leader never requires being a disrespectful person.
Important. True strength doesn't need to put others down.
Right. Respect and integrity are key.
Okay.
So, just as he's leaving, he mentions this upcoming training.
Oh, with who?
Someone named Mr. Riley. Apparently, he's an expert in, let me get this right, reaching maximum productivity, sustaining exceptional performance, and creating a life you love by coding in a superior morning routine.
A superior morning routine. Okay, so designing your mornings for success.
Basically, yeah. It brings the conversation from the philosophical, the internal shifts,
Right.
down to something really practical. Habits, daily structure.
Which makes sense. Those internal changes need support structures, routines to really stick. Yeah.
Exactly. And the Spellbinder says he mentored this Mr. Riley, and he's excited for him to share his methods. He hints at something called the 5 a.m. Club.
The 5 a.m. Club? Heard of that concept?
Yeah. He says it has potential for outstanding shifts deep within you.
Interesting. That idea of leveraging the early morning for personal growth and focus. It's definitely got traction. Be curious to know the specifics of this approach.
Well, he gives them a pretty clear instruction. Be on the beach next morning, 5 a.m. sharp, for the train.
Wow, okay. No messing around.
Nope. And his parting shot is basically the tagline. Own your morning. Elevate your life.
Powerful call to action. Control the start of your day and it ripples outwards.
So wrapping up this deep dive, what are the big things that jump out? For me, it's definitely the power of just starting, taking action, even when things aren't perfect.
Yeah, Liv the entrepreneur did. She didn't wait. She sought help and started.
Exactly. And then there's that huge distinction between external validation, that fake power,
Yeah.
building real internal strength.
Yeah,
Like Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Their power came from inside.
absolutely. And that internal power seems deeply connected to contribution, right?
Well,
To serving something bigger than just yourself.
yes, that Rumi quote, become the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And also the crucial reminder about rest. Even high performers need downtime. It's not optional, it's essential.
It really is. Burnout is real, even for, well, spellbinders.
Apparently so. And then we get this glimpse of practical application, the idea that structured routines, like this 5 a.m. club, can actually help build that transformation.
Yeah, it connects the inner work with outer practice.
It really feels like it circles back to that first step the entrepreneur took and the potential packed into that 5 a.m. club idea. Feels like there's definitely more to unpack there.
For sure. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you listening right now.
Yeah.
Where in your life might you be chasing external validation, that fake power? Just pause and consider that. And what could it look like, maybe starting today, to intentionally focus on building that genuine internal strength instead? What's one small step you could take, aligned with who you really are, that starts building that resilience?
It's a great question to sit with. What's one small, authentic action? Definitely something to mull over. And yeah, sounds like we might need another deep dive soon, maybe into this whole 5 a.m. club methodology.
Could be very interesting.
Definitely. Until then, keep thinking, keep exploring, and make those insights work for you.